we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We need to talk about Charlie Kirk and what happened. So at the time of this stream, they have a very promising suspect right now who isn't trans, who grew up in a Trump supporter family, in a MAGA family. The trans ideology writing that was on the castings of the bullets, where notices bulge. Oh, whoa, what's this? Cox said there were 3 unfired casings. One read, "Hey fascist, catch," with an up arrow symbol, right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols, which is a Helldivers reference. Another one read, "Oh, better jow, better jow, better jow, jow, jow," which is, song lyrics. And the third one said, "If you read this, you are gay." Obviously, anti-fascist, trans ideology messaging, and, like Nancy Mace said, it has to be a quote-unquote tranny or pro-tranny shooter. Even though they had, like, no evidence, they were starting to spread misinformation, fear-mongering again. Oh, like, the trans lunatics are out there shooting everybody. You gotta be scared of the trans people. Please, do not worry about like what is going on actually in the world, especially in the country of the United States. No, don't look at that stuff. Just you have to be scared. You have to be scared of the big scary trans women. But Jiao is an anti-fascist song. It feels more like rage bait though. Anyways, okay, I gotta be, kind of serious right now, which is like very difficult if you're an anime fox girl. I do not support any form of like violence, and even if I despise the victim, even if I do not like Charlie Kirk at all, even if I think that what Charlie Kirk is spreading is incredibly, or like was spreading, and what, conservatives like him are spreading is incredibly dangerous. It's fear-mongering, it's misinformation, and it's causing this division, and it's inciting violence against marginalized groups. I still do not think that this form of like gun violence is good. I do not believe that the left gained anything from this. Like, I do not believe that society has now gained something because Charlie Kirk is no longer here. I believe that if you look at the origin story of Charlie Kirk, that you're going to find out that it doesn't take a lot to be a conservative right-wing speaker, being out there doing these forms of like debates and being one of those people, right? You don't need like a lot of qualifications to spread misinformation and hatred, right? That's just like my take on this. I believe they're just going to find someone else that they're going to platform and boost. So I don't believe that there was anything being gained from this form of violence, and I think that this form of violence always causes more violence. Another thing is, I saw the footage, I saw the close-up of the footage, and I can't unsee that. Every time I close my eyes, I see this. First of all, it's crazy that Twitter is just like showing these things, right? Without any issues. Let me go into the middle again. And I feel really bad for the bystanders, the ones who had to fear for their lives because they didn't know if this is just like a single target or if there are going to be more shots fired. I feel awful for everybody who had to like witness these things, especially, Charlie Kirk's daughter. What like really freaked me out was the first thing that I saw online were just memes. People just making jokes about it. I think that was like the worst part of it. When like this trans kid was posting on Twitter like a picture of, quote unquote, The View, and the right turned it into like a meme. That was horrible, right? And even though you can argue that like, yeah, Charlotte was innocent and she deserved better, and you have no sympathy for Charlie Kirk because, he spent his life just spreading hate, it's still a human life making fun of basically a public execution. First thing I posted was surely more guns could have prevented this, to a video. The suspect got released again. I also think it's like dangerous that people jump to conclusions. They also did that with a trans woman, like with a random trans woman, just like posting the pictures, being like, "Oh, this is the teacher that did these things." You know, I just wish people would wait with these things for a second. But I tweeted, I swear to God, people need to think before they tweet something. Gun violence is never okay, and it shouldn't be normalized just because you dislike the victim. I hate Charlie Kirk, but he didn't deserve this. Nobody does. And by saying this, that like he didn't deserve to get publicly executed, I had a lot of people be upset with me because like, oh yeah, he spreads hate. And I get that, you know, I do not mourn his death. My life didn't change now that he's gone, right? And my empathy and compassion, it has a line, it has a limit at some point. But still, I do not think that these sorts of scenarios should be normalized, right? Because like, who's next? What is the next thing, right? Are they going to start, you know, publicly executing public speakers on the left? Are they going to do that to trans people, right? Is it just going to get worse? I do not think that there's anything being gained from that. And it doesn't matter who the shooter was, because like, you know, they're always going to blame like the radical lunatic leftists. You know, in a just world, he would just be arrested. Oh, we do not live in a just world, so you have to like do. No, I don't think that's okay, right? I do not believe that this is something that people should celebrate in that sense. Fascists are inconsistent. They say whatever they need to say and step on whoever they need to step on to acquire power. I mean, the thing is, like, fascism thrives in times of fear, right? When everybody is happy, then fascism is not going to you know, play with the emotions like that. But this has been going for such a long time. This like stirring the pot and being like, oh, this small minority, this small group is evil, doing all these evil things, and through their media empire, they are boosting these things. Anytime a trans person or someone who is perceived as trans does literally anything, you're going to hear about it everywhere. And when it's like someone who is a white supremacist who is spreading like, I don't know, Nazi rhetoric and so on, you're not going to hear it. It's just going to be like, oh no, actually that was a leftist all along. And they're going to like start making fake statistics and so on. And if you do not have the opposition that is loud enough to push back against that, you're kind of screwed. So obviously I understand when people are quote unquote happy that Charlie Kirk is no longer here, because he was using his platform. He was building this platform on doing these quote unquote debates that are literally just there to piss off the liberals, piss off the left, and normalize right-wing talking points by putting these things up for debate, right? Like when it comes to trans rights, for example, if you sit there and you're like, trans people need to be eradicated from public existence, and it's like, oh yeah, we should debate that. That's a good topic to debate. Yeah, probably very good reasons why that should be the case. Putting this into a debate setting, it doesn't matter who has the better arguments. It's literally just like, oh, these are points that can be debated. This is like a conversation we need to have. Instead of being like, no, this needs to be shut down because it's dangerous agenda. It's Nazi rhetoric. It is evil. It's bad, right? Instead of doing that, it's just like normalizing these talking points in these debate settings, which is dangerous, obviously. But there are a lot of right-wingers doing these things. There are a lot of conservatives doing these things. Are we just going to like sit there and like start shooting everybody? Like that is causing so many issues, and I feel like people are so desensitized to the shit that they're seeing. Like, even for me, like every single day you go on Twitter, you see more people in Palestine getting bombed, more people getting shot. Like the last time you had the Ukrainian woman who was like murdered on the subway. It's like, what is going on? And it's just crazy to me that people are like, oh yeah, we should like make fun of these situations. And it's like, when you watch the video, don't. If you haven't seen it, please do not go and watch it. You don't need to see that. But when you just like see the close up and your first thought is like, ha, I can turn it into a funny meme. I feel like that's crazy. He's no, I do not want people to be here and like rationalize and like justify this. The same with like, oh, Charlie Kirk said that you know, certain deaths are just worth it, so people keep their Second Amendment right. And it's like, oh yeah, this is what Charlie would have wanted. And it's like, I don't think that's like a good thing, right? The fact that there is this huge problem with gun violence, at this point, it just feels like a culture thing. I mean, I'm not American, so I'm like an outsider, obviously, but it feels like every single day I go on Twitter, I see like another shooting happened. Do you remember the assassination of the Japanese PM Abe? Yeah, the one that Kirsch made fun of. If you cannot understand that a communist is not an innocent but a tumor on a nation waiting to infect the rest, I am unsure what to tell you. Start with the Besmov interviews, I guess. Happy Otoya Yamaguchi Day. Remember to remove commies before they subvert your nation. With cutesy little drawings of the murder. I guess celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder is having the effect on Kirsch that this is no longer funny. But like, you know, I'm not making light of any of these things, right? Obviously this sort of violence is very bad. I wish debates worked, honestly. I wish we would live in a world where two people with opposing values could, like, you know, they have like a baseline understanding of certain things and a baseline agreement on certain things, and then they can just like find a compromise on certain things. Obviously, I do not feel that trans issues should be debated. Trans rights are human rights. If you have a conversation with someone who is transphobic, and by transphobic I mean based on ignorance, not on necessarily like bigotry and like indoctrination from the right, I feel like it would just like be more beneficial to have like a conversation, like explaining these things, going to like a root thing, but like the fundamental understanding should be like, oh yeah, trans people are people, they're human beings, not some ideology that needs to be eliminated or something, right? This is kind of my problem with debates, because it's just like two people. One person has like a fundamental understanding of how things work, and the other one is like, no, I just like hate these people. I do not want these people to like go outside. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Right? Exactly. I have a right-wing friend. When we disagree on something, we don't argue. We usually just kind of share our point of views in a friendly way, which when people would be like that. Of course. Okay, as a trans person, of course I would love to be able to have like a conversation with someone who doesn't understand like what it feels like to be trans and whatnot, and they're going to like come to, you know, support me, instead of being like, oh, we should just like agree to disagree, because I hate that. On specific topics, I think this doesn't work. So I don't know. I hate this like debate pro era that is like happening, where everybody is like, oh, debate me. Anytime you have like a disagreement with someone, it's just like, oh, debate me. Let's get together, have like a proper debate, join a call, have a debate. Also release the Epstein files. Yeah, release the Epstein files. Yeah, anyway, I think it's just like dangerous to be here and like celebrating these things, right? I do not believe, also if you're like a public figure and you're posting these things, I do not believe getting fired for celebrating, you know, this murder is something, you know, it's like a hill that you should die on. Obviously, I'm not going to tell people how they should like feel about these things. I'm just saying that like you should be careful. I'm also not going to be like, oh, if you're celebrating this, you're going to make the left look bad, because like they're going to find some reason to get mad at us anyway. They're going to oversimplify things and point the finger at like some people and be like, oh, you're all the same anyway. The first thing, like Elon Musk, the left is the party of murder. There was no suspect at the point. You know, it's just fear-mongering and like more division and stuff. I made like a tweet being like, surely people on the right will now stop calling for the death of Hassan, right? Surely they will now take a moment to think that their words have real-world consequences, right? I'm just saying that like, hey, if you're sitting there and you're like demonizing and villainizing people, I didn't phrase it properly. That's why people were able to take it out of context and blow certain things up, because that's what they do, right? There's some people stalking my page, and anything that they can twist in order to like weaponize it against me, they're going to like take it. Obviously, I'm not saying that like, oh, if you're like a right winger and you say evil things, then you're going to get shot. Like, I'm just saying that like, if you're sitting there and being like, hey, this person is a parasite, this group is demonic and evil, and we need to like exterminate all the evil, right? If you call trans people like a spawn of Satan, you know, you're going to give people a justification to do bad things. That's just like how it works. Dehumanizing and so on, it just like works like that. And if they're sitting there and being like, oh, Hassan is a cancer to this society, I wouldn't support Hassan getting shot, but I can understand why someone would do that. If you're sitting there saying these things, like, you're going to radicalize people, you're going to push people, you're going to give them the go-ahead to do these evil things, right? And then you see like Trump issues a statement after Kirk's death, blaming the rhetoric of the radical left, you know, same stuff, like, oh, we're going to like take down everybody on the left who's doing these evil things. And it's like they never hold anyone on the right accountable. If you're like on the right and you're like, oh, all trans people are groomers and pedophiles, we need to kill all files, then people on the right are like, oh yeah, that makes sense, that's clever. And if you call it out, if you point it out, then it's like, no, nobody actually says that. No, like, you just have to be one of the good trans people, obviously. You know, they put me on this, they're calling for war, clips of TikTok being like, oh, this is war. I made one tweet that was like a response to Aspengold going, anyone surprised at what happened to Charlie Kirk? Hasn't been paying attention, go anywhere, Reddit, Twitter, etc., and you will find thousands of unhinged direct calls to violence over politics, you know, stuff like that. They're like, oh, if you call people a Nazi and you say that like, oh, Nazis are bad, then you're going to push people into that direction. He basically said that he wanted to kill me. Let me go to the clip, and I'm going to explain how this is normalizing certain things, right? Like he says,
you know, for years, we've had to live under the thumb of people that are like this, and those days are over. I'm going to do my best job to kill them as well as I can.
Metaphorically, of course. If you say that, like, oh, you're going to kill the idea, right? It's the same with, like, saying, okay, it's not the trans people that you want to eradicate, it's the transgenderism, it's the ideologies, gender ideology and so on. It's the brainwashing, it's the woke mind virus. If you take a group of people and you dehumanize them and put them in a frame, in a framing of like, oh, you're just going to stop the idea, then you can look at the victims and you just say that like, this is collateral. In order for this to happen, we need to like step over some toes. But if you're saying like these woke lunatic leftists are out and we were living under their thumb, and now we're going to like kill the idea of them like actually going to rise up to power again, who are you talking about? What are you like actually saying? And it's like, okay, when you're speaking about the idea, it's just like literally people existing. I feel like these things are incredibly dangerous. Like, I would never want to give people the idea that in order to fight back, they have to like start killing public speakers. Meanwhile, on the right, they're like, oh, this is payback now. Oh, this is war. An eye for an eye, right? They're like calling for violence out here. And then you call it out, and then it's like, oh, no, actually, this is not what anybody believes. And it's this constant, like, a victim mentality that they have that, like, pisses me off so much. The same with, like, oh, how many times can a crackpot hear white supremacist Nazi nationalists and hear how much of existential threat to democracy certain people are, or that they want to erase people before they become radicalized and think they need to do something. Yeah, sorry for killing all these people. I got called evil one too many times. Like, it's just a wild excuse. And, you know, because of, like, the media empire of the right, they can control the narrative. They boost certain things. They platform certain things. They blow things way out of proportion. I notice that all the time because, you know, anytime I tweet something that can be taken out of context, it will be taken out of context, and it's going to be used in order to like rile up people more, because it's just like, it's just having a target having someone to like dogpile on, someone to go after. And it's delusional to believe that this rhetoric is not actually having real life consequences, right? Just because I'm sitting here in Germany and I'm like, somewhat safe, doesn't mean that like constantly calling me a pedophile, a groomer, a danger to children, a threat to humanity, a cancer, a virus is not going to have like some effect of people's perception when it comes to me and the things that I say. And once the seed is planted and you're continuously like nurturing it, how do you get rid of that? This is kind of like why I'm also like always pissed off when it comes to liberals or like centrists, when it comes to like, oh, we should just like talk things out to like about like trans people because it doesn't appeal to the average voter. We just have to have these conversations. Like, no. What you need to do is you see all the misinformation that is being spread. You just need to like explain to people that this is not the case. You need to boost like the voices of trans people. Give us a platform to speak. But in the UK, there's like a nationwide like ban when it comes to trans people in the media, unless you're being gender critical and you have like the opposition there. So it's just, I get that people are frustrated. I get that people are like, what else are we going to do except fight like this? I don't support that. I do not have like a better solution. I just need people to just like survive and, take care of their community and like be there for each other. But the audacity from the right to be like, oh, this is just like a disagreement on opinions or stuff like that. I turn it into a meme. Trans women are women, trans men are men, non-binary people are valid. We need to kill everyone that isn't like me. Just a different opinion. Don't worry about it.